Yeah, run it back, nation. What is good? It is I, DJ Eastwood, run it back Philly. No frauds, no fanboys. No, despite what the chat says, no intros. I hit that air horn on the money that time, bro. Yeah. Shout out to everybody in here. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for rocking with me. You know the drill, man. Hit the like button. 116 people. Give me 116 likes. Close the chat. Hit the like button. That is how you push this stream through the YouTube algorithm. It doesn't really make any sense, but that's how it works. So, do me a favor. Hit the like button. If you're watching it on replay, give me 1,000 likes. Last night's game reaction hit 1,000 likes. So that's the new standard. 1,000 likes. We're taking over this shit. I'm not supposed to say curse words in the first couple minutes. What are we at? 4 minutes? All right. Subscribe to the channel. If you're watching these shows and you're not subscribed, that is fraudulent behavior. So just take a second. Over 50% of people that watch these are not subscribed to the channel. So just go hit that little red button. It doesn't do anything for you at all. Subscribers don't actually matter. It just does it for me. It's all about the number, and we're trying to hit 20,000. All right? 140 people. Thanks for being here. Shout out to, hold on a second. I missed the, I got to shout you out. Beats by Biz. Thanks for the super chat. Love the content. Hey, thank you, brother. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the super chat. Fresh, thank you for the super chat. Watching the Clippers lose is as fun as our wins. Bro, the Clippers, they ruined their team. I don't even understand what they're doing. And the funniest part about what the Clippers look like right now is that James Harden, he looked what he looked like the past 2 years, but this offseason he was like, I'm not coming back to Philly and blah, 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 trade me, right? But he forgot about the fact that you still have to train and stay in shape to play for the team you get traded to. So he didn't do damn thing the whole lot. He looks horrible right now. James Harden looks absolutely terrible for the Clippers right now, but it's a long season. Maybe they get some chemistry and turn it around. The first 2 games Harden played, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard have shot the ball terribly. So maybe they turn it around and they start looking better. I don't know. But I agree. It is a lot of fun so far. The Sixers are legit. The Sixers are legit. You know what the question was? Hey, you start the season 5-1, almost 6-0. You only lost to the Bucks by a point. Damian Lillard shot 17 free throws. It seemed like they were legit. You know what I'm saying? The first couple of games we were playing some lackluster competition, but they weren't hanging around, right? Even the Portland Trailblazers, Toronto Raptors twice, even though they're a good perimeter defense team. They're a good defensive team. We took care of bad teams easily. So that's what I was saying. I was like, this team looks legit. They don't look like they're messing around with these bad teams. They look like a very good team that's taking care of these bottom of the barrel teams quite easily. And but there was still the question out there. They haven't played anybody yet. You know what? And the Celtics fans, you haven't played anybody yet. Just wait till you face some real competition. Wait till you face us. And I was like, okay, you're right. You're right. That's going to answer all of the questions that I have. That's going to answer all of my questions. If we convincingly beat the Boston Celtics, that answers all of my questions. This team is legit. And it starts with coaching, but it's a combination of the coaching and the roster construction. And I have an opinion on the roster construction coming right up here. I got a couple of opinions, okay? I do have an opinion on the roster construction now and how it was constructed in the past couple of years, and I have a theory. I'm going to go fishing a little bit, okay? But the first thing I want to say is the Boston Celtics this season, this offseason, they went into this offseason and look, the Boston Celtics were building something great when Danny Ainge was the GM. And they still looked great when Ime Udoka was the head coach. Okay, it is becoming clear that Brad Stevens is not Danny Ainge, and you're seeing a big difference. And they need to be careful, or they could be on the decline in the next couple of years if they don't stop making the moves that they're making. This is just seriously what I think about the Boston Celtics right now. They went into this offseason, and for the first time in the past 6 years, for the first time in Joel Embiid's career, for some reason, the Boston Celtics' main focus this offseason was not stopping Joel Embiid. For the past couple of years, their whole focus in the offseason was, let's build a team that can shut down Joel Embiid. And it worked. And it worked, and it worked, and it worked, and it worked. And the combination of Marcus Smart, Robert Williams, Grant Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, it worked. Al Horford, obviously. This season, for some reason, they said, hey, let's go into the offseason and focus on offense and not worry about stopping, the Sixers, because we don't care about the Sixers. They forgot. They forgot about us. They forgot about Joel Embiid. Now, they play the Sixers. Joel Embiid has clearly a better system around him, clearly better spacing, clearly just everybody's more prepared, and everything is just set up for success a lot better on the Sixers end of things. Now the Sixers play the Celtics, and the Celtics are like, oh, shit. We forgot. We have to stop Joel Embiid. What are we going to do? And he scored 10 points in the first quarter relatively easily. Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, I thought they were going to start Al Horford and Porzingis together. The fact that what's the coach's even name? I forget his name. But the fact that at all they started Porzingis solo is ridiculous, because Joel, before they started switching things up, Joel was going for a 40-piece with his eyes closed. I mean, it's Porzingis. You know what I'm saying? Good offensive player, can block shots on the weak side because he has length, obviously, but he can't guard Joel Embiid. And it got to the point where they were switching. How embarrassing is it for an NBA center? They ran out of options halfway through the first quarter, and they started putting Drew Holiday on Joel Embiid. How embarrassing is it for everyone really on the roster that your point guard is the one that has to switch on to Joel because he's the best defender? He's so much better defensively than everyone else on that starting lineup, in that starting lineup, that he's guarding the other team's center. And, the play that exemplifies all of their failed attempts to slow him down, and not that he went off for 50 or anything. They did, he had some turnover issues. He got lackluster. He got into some situations where he settled for jump shots and things like that. That was kind of frustrating me a little bit, and obviously the last couple of minutes of the game was pretty frustrating. But the play where Holiday is on Embiid just spins off of him, and then completely posters Kristaps Porzingis coming from the weak side. There was no answer for Joel, and they had to double, they had to triple, they had to switch Drew Holiday onto him. They had to try everything they could possibly try, because this offseason, they forgot about Joel Embiid. Luckily for the Celtics, seriously, last night, they lost, but luckily for the Celtics, the Sixers shot 20% from three-point range. So they had to double, triple Embiid, and we're out here building apartment complexes with bricks. And we were still hanging in the game and still ended up going up 15 in the fourth quarter. If the Sixers were making open shots, this thing would have been a blowout from the start. Because they had to double and triple Embiid, because they don't have anybody on the roster that can guard him anymore. I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but yesterday I said the Celtics I literally tweeted, the Celtics are about to find out how important Robert Williams and Grant Williams actually were. And all the Celtics fans on Twitter came at me and said, Robert Williams and Grant Williams didn't even guard Joel in the playoffs. And then I sent them a bunch of photos of Robert Williams and Grant Williams guarding Joel Embiid in the playoffs, literally hounding him on top of him, double teaming him, fouling him, bear hugging him. And, it ended up being, it wasn't hard to predict. It wasn't hard to predict, but, It's just like, I don't know. If this ends up being an Eastern Conference Finals matchup, first of all, I will need a Xanax prescription. But the fact that they now have to throw their point guard at Joel and try all of these things, pull the kitchen sink out of the back room. We were wide open from three all damn day long. We missed almost all of them. We started the game 0 for 9 from 3. So actually, we can beat them even more convincingly next time. And I have that much confidence in the situation. Shout out to Matt Woodland. Thank you for the super chat. Top 5 coach and nurse, scrappy role players. Let's fucking go. Dude, that's it. That's it. You got a championship level coach who's, somebody, I wish I remembered her name off the top of my head. It was a female actually in the comments, and I love when I get comments from, it's just cool that to once in a while see a female that's like a sports fan and a Sixers fan. Anyway, she said, no, she's a Raptors fan, and she said, sad to see Nick Nurse go. He is a tactician. Or a technician. I forget how she said it. Either way, he's very tactical. He's very strategic, and it shows. And the combination of him instead of the other guy and actual athletic players on the roster is the answer to what's happening right now. DFJ, what up? Thank you for the super chat. Even though we won, there's still work for us to do. We need to be better with our defense in transition, and we need to make shots early. I agree with that. To start, we were just missing wide open threes. Start the game 0 for 9. I don't feel like we were doing anything wrong. We were just missing them. You know what I mean? That's just what basketball is. They're not going to do that again. They're not going to shoot 0 for 9, So, I don't think the missed shots early is something they need to fix or work on. That's just kind of like, hey, we couldn't buy a bucket. It happens to the best of us. But there's definitely some things we did wrong in the game, especially getting complacent at the end and letting them come back the way that we did with the turnovers. And there was definitely some transition defense that we got beat in transition a couple times. But it was a battle, and if they made mistakes and went down to the wire with a bad team, that's one thing. But when it comes to the top teams in the NBA, the Boston Celtics, Denver Nuggets, whoever else, a win is a win is a win. It's going to be good things. There's going to be bad things. There's going to be ups and downs. But a win is a win is a win. And I'm happy with the whole thing. I don't care how they got it done. William Payne, thank you for a super chat. Trade for OG and Gary Trent Jr. with Maxey and Embiid playing at this level. I guarantee you we make a deep playoff run. OG and Gary Trent Jr. Obviously, I've said a million times I love OG. I think he'd be a perfect fit. Gary Trent Jr. Maybe an upgrade from DeAnthony Melton in a starting lineup. Not sure. DeAnthony Melton is just he's having a rough go at the beginning of this season, and I think that's the one glaring maybe roster weakness is DeAnthony Melton's probably not a starting level shooting guard. So there is that to look at. Okay. The other thing I wanted to say was the biggest cancer to this team was not Ben Simmons a couple years ago. It was not all of the it was the roster, but there's a reason for it. The biggest cancer to this team in the past couple of years was not Ben Simmons, was not James Harden. It was Doc Rivers. And it just becomes with every win and every victory and every just 48 minutes of proof out there on record that you can go rewatch on NBA League Pass whenever you want. Every single game solidifies more and more how much of a problem Doc Rivers was. And not just from the lack of practice and preparation, not just from the guy seemed like he really didn't care at all, not just from what message was being sent in the locker room and in training camp and in practice, and the lack of just a message to to work hard and stop playing soft and stop flopping and looking for calls. And not just that. The roster construction. I have a theory and I'm going fishing. Okay? Because if you look back at the roster under Doc Rivers, what are the odds that the roster was old and slow and unathletic under Doc Rivers? And now that he's gone, the roster is suddenly young, fast, tall, and athletic. What are the odds? It's the same GM. It's Daryl Morey. Here's my theory. Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers were hired at the same time. Separately, Doc Rivers definitely had some conversations and some agreements with ownership before he was hired. Like in the meeting when he got hired, he definitely had some agreements with ownership on certain things. I wouldn't be shocked if when we fired Brett Brown, these dipshit owners, they went to Doc Rivers, they said, this is a legendary, historic coach who's going to fix everything, and they agreed to allow him to have input on the roster. That might even be an actual fact that's out there. I didn't even search for it. But it's clear to me that Daryl Morey, and Daryl Morey won't say this because he's being a professional, but as much as I ripped Daryl Morey to shreds over the past couple of years with that roster, I think it's becoming clear to me that Daryl Morey had his hands tied sometimes. If you look at like when Paul Reed was playing great backup center in the Toronto Raptors series in the playoffs, and then all of a sudden Doc Rivers played DeAndre Jordan the next series, and we lost. If you look at the next year, okay, finally, Paul Reed's finally the backup center. No, we signed Montrezl Harrell. Why did we sign a slow 6'7" old center who can't jump? And then Doc Rivers played him the whole season over Paul Reed. It's becoming clear to me that Doc Rivers had a serious input on the roster. He preferred his old veterans. He, for some reason, didn't understand it's a young man's game, and I think a lot of times Daryl Morey had his hands tied. I want to make the team better, but I got to give Doc what he wants. You know, Daryl Morey drafts Charles Bassey and Isaiah Joe. Doc Rivers doesn't even let these dudes sniff the floor, and he has to release them to go sign Dwayne Dedman. It just doesn't make sense from a general manager standpoint. It does make sense if Doc Rivers had input on the roster. So Doc Rivers was a cancer to the locker room. He was a cancer to the on-court product, and he was a cancer to the roster. And you finally got rid of that old, stubborn son of a you-know-what, and all of a sudden, you're out here signing Kelly Oubre's and bringing in Robert Covington and Nick Batum and things like that. It just... Is that a crazy theory? Is that a crazy theory? Presidential Mike, thanks for the super chat. Add Smart and OG. They fit perfectly with Joel and Maxey. I would love Marcus Smart and OG Anunoby. I agree with that, and thank you for the super chat. Is that a crazy theory that Doc Rivers had input on the roster? It just makes perfect sense to me. Because what are the odds? You had PJ Tucker, George Niang, Montrezl Harrell. it was the shortest, slowest, literally fattest. It was the heaviest. Somebody tweeted one time, they put the average weight of all NBA rosters. It was the heaviest NBA roster. You couldn't guard anybody. It made no sense. Now you give Nick Nurse athletic players, and we're out here flying around the perimeter, and we are guarding, ladies and gentlemen. We are guarding. You want to see how much we're guarding? Look. The team as a whole, well, here's Joel Embiid, okay, versus the Celtics on defense yesterday. The heaviest and the shortest, bro. That's just crazy. There's 3 delusional people in the past couple years. Ben Simmons, Doc Rivers, and James Harden, and they're all out of here. Joel Embiid versus the Celtics defense yesterday. Joel Embiid on Al Horford, 24 possessions, 0 points. Only got 3 shots off against Joel Embiid. Kristaps Porzingis, 15 possessions, 6 points. Jaylen Brown on Joel Embiid, 9 possessions, 0 points. Joel Embiid held the Celtics to 20.8% from the field in his one-on-one guarding situations. Joel Embiid's defense has been unbelievable this season. Not just blocked shots, but just the way that he's rotating, the way that he's switching, and just his overall effort. And honestly, it probably has a lot to do with the rest of the players on the team also being better defenders. When Joel Embiid was in the paint last year, the year before, every game, watching George Niang get smoked, watching James Harden get smoked, watching whoever else on the perimeter, Joel had to stay in the paint because everybody was getting beat on the perimeter. They couldn't guard anybody. Now you got guys out here guarding. Even Tyrese Maxey last year, the year before, wasn't great at one-on-one defense. Now all of a sudden he's clamping Jaylen Brown, which sometimes I feel like I could clamp Jaylen Brown, but he has no bag. That's a reach, obviously. Jaylen Brown would just push me out of his way and dunk on me. But now that the rest of the team has elevated their defensive ability, Joel Embiid doesn't have to do as much, and he can kind of conserve his energy, and he can kind of roam around, and I just think the whole thing works better. I think Joel Embiid was a victim to how unathletic everybody around him was, and everybody got in the lane, and he had to stand there. So I just think the whole team's better defensively, and it's making Joel Embiid's individual numbers look a lot better too. And I'm also just seeing a lot more effort flat out from Joel and from everybody defensively, and that is the coach. How the Sixers defended Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown last night. Jason Tatum, Kelly Oubre was on Jason Tatum for 22 possessions. He scored 5 points. Tobias Harris, by the way, shout out to Mr. Crockpot, always gives us these nice stats here. Jason Tatum, Tobias Harris was on Jason Tatum for 18 possessions. He only scored 2 points. Jaylen Brown, Tobias was on him for 17 possessions, locked him up, 0. DeAnthony Melton on Jaylen Brown, 14 possessions, 2 points. I would love to see the Tyrese Maxey stat there, because Maxey clamped him a couple times and just took the ball from him. I mean, Maxey's defense yesterday was just unbelievable, and even the chase down block on Drew Holiday, I can't get enough of Tyrese. By the way, show him the tee. You know what it is. It's Maxey season. RunItBackPhillyShop.com. Yeah, I can't get enough of Tyrese Maxey this year. Pause. Derek Wigat, what up, man? Thanks for the super chat. I can't believe what the Clippers did. Did they make that trade for drama purposes? Drama equals more money. I know for sure is they're not about winning. I can't figure it out either. I have no idea why they would give up what they gave up for 35-year-old over-the-hill James Harden. He's out here trying to run pick and rolls with Zubac and throwing the ball out of bounds. Another thing is that if you watch the Clippers, Harden still can't catch and shoot. And for some reason, he said he didn't get to play his system here in Philly when he had the second highest time of possession of any player in the NBA. You literally had the ball more than everybody, but you couldn't play your system here. Now you go to a team where you're going to have to give up the ball a lot more to Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Russell Westbrook. And what do you have to do when you give up the ball more? You have to move without the ball, and you have to catch and shoot. Those are two things James Harden does not do. What were they thinking? And I'm just watching a couple of highlights from last night, and James Harden still can't catch and shoot. I'll never be able to figure out why a professional basketball player can't catch the ball and shoot it. He catches the ball wide open from three, and he stops and he waits for the defense to come to him so he can do his stupid little dribble the ball 500 times. It makes no sense. But I don't know what the Clippers were thinking either, man. Thanks for the super chat. 400 people in here. Hit the like button. Give me 400 likes. Thank you for hanging out with me. A couple more things before I get up out of here. This is Joel Embiid's post-game press conference. He said, no one has an ego on this team. We got new guys. We took them in. We got them up to speed. Guys want to play with each other. They want to be around each other. I think it helps a lot. And yeah, excuse me for a second. Allergies, live show. No timeouts. You got rid of all of the diva personalities. the players in the NBA whose fame has clearly gone to their head, and they show up to games, wearing some kind of Balenciaga trash bag looking runway outfit, and it's just so look at me, look at me, look at me. And from a really just internal standpoint, somebody that does that is probably not going to be good for your team. That's me completely judging somebody off of what they wear to an arena. But seriously, anybody that's like, I need to wear this because everybody's going to talk about it, they're obsessed with themselves. You got rid of them. Ben Simmons, James Harden. What other players like that would you not want around your team? Kyle Kuzma. You got, I made a comment yesterday when they were showing the players walking into the arena. And I was like, look, our players are wearing like normal clothing. They look like they're focused on playing basketball. I'm not saying fashion's a bad thing, but these like super like elite rich people, weird Kanye West outfits, they're obsessed with themselves. And I don't want any of those players around my team ever again. If they wear what was the damn Harden like Cookie Monster outfit, whatever it is, dude, I don't want any of those players around my team ever again. We got the divas out of here and everything else works better. No one has an ego on this team. Is that a shot at James Harden? Is that a shot at James Harden? Hey, now you can be out in LA, you can wear your dumb costumes, and nobody cares. Because at the end of the day, nobody cares about the Clippers anyway. They've never been anything. They've always been this redheaded stepchild to the Lakers. So now you can do whatever you want. Nobody gives a shit, James. So I hope you're happy with where you ended up. Here's a fun fact. Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey are the best pick-and-roll duo so far this season. 75 points scored and assisted per game. Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. And when if you guys lose Harden, you're screwed. I was like, did you guys forget about Tyrese Maxey? Again, we can go back to that season where Ben Simmons was sitting out, and that was 20, not even 21-year-old Tyrese Maxey had the team at 8-2 and was running two-man game with Joel Embiid. And that was because Doc Rivers was forced to play him. I was like, when did Tyrese Maxey can't run a two-man game with Joel Embiid start? First of all, I'm not saying playing in the NBA is easy, but playing point guard with Joel Embiid definitely makes it a lot easier. It definitely makes it a lot easier. You go around the screen, you give Joel the ball back. I mean, I'm not saying, he's learned how to read the floor a lot. He's making skip passes. He's playing a lot more like a point guard, Tyrese Maxey is, but I had no question that Tyrese Maxey could run a two-man game with Joel Embiid, and I'm not going to say I expected it to be this good. The best pick-and-roll duo so far this season. My young king, Tyrese Maxey. We just need to sit here and just bask in Celtics tears. We need to brew up a pot of Celtics tears and just drink it. You know what? I might make a coffee mug that says Celtics tears on it. It just feels great to shut them up for now. Now the Sixers are 6-1. I'm not saying they're never going to lose a game. There's going to be highs and lows. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be streaks of games that they lose. They're going to go on a 5-game losing streak. They're going to go, it's a long season. There's going to be games weeks where your shooting goes away and you shoot 27% for a couple games, even though they shot 28% last night and still won the game. There's definitely going to be highs and lows, but I just think this team, and if they do add another piece or two, you know what I mean, this could be a Celtics Sixers Eastern Conference Championship Series, and I don't know how I would handle it. I do not understand how I would handle it. The level of worked up I just got over a regular season game is not normal. If it's a playoff series, I'm screwed, man. I'm gonna need to go back to drinking. Hey, look at this Tyrese Maxey stat also. Tyrese Maxey through 7 games has 49 assists and only 8 turnovers. It's one of only 68 times in the history of the league that a player has had at least 40 assists and less than 10 turnovers through the first 7 games of a season. And yeah, those stats are like very specific, so it's a bit of a reach, but it's just giving you the idea of how good he's been as a point guard in the first 7 games of the season. 49 assists and only 8 turnovers is just phenomenal. Phenomenal. Plus, Maxey has the most points of that group, 178 total. And again, last night, fourth quarter, Joel's on the bench. This is becoming a common theme now, where we need something to happen. And I was on the playback stream. Shout out to everybody in there. We broke 125 live viewers. We're climbing closer to 200, closer to 300. We're taking over the damn app, okay, Playback TV. But I was in there saying, this is your lineup, Maxey. This is your time. Nick Nurse rests Joel Embiid the first couple of minutes of the fourth quarter because he knows it's Maxey time. This is Maxey's time to get it done. And he went out there and he did it again. He did it again. I don't know what else to say about Tyrese Maxey. He did it again. The final step of his development was becoming a closer and a leader. And he's becoming a leader and he's becoming a closer. And he's not deferring. He's not like, I got to get it to Joel. He's like, this is me. I'm doing this. Him and Joel, in both of their minds, I would say, are even as far as who's in charge and who's the leader of the team. And I love that. The end of the game was not fun. I think Joel Embiid started to kind of mess around. We were up 15 with 3 minutes left. I made the mistake of saying the game's over. That was stupid of me to say because right when I said that, this happened, and I shouldn't be shocked at the Sixers doing what Sixers do, but turnovers and lazy play and beat in transition, and Joel just started to kind of jog around and shoot jump shots, and I'm sure Nick Nurse probably had a conversation with them after the game, like, hey, you guys almost blew that by acting like a bunch of assholes at the end. Let's keep the foot on the gas. Let's keep working until the clock hits 0. But it was the Celtics, and a lot of those shots were chucks. You know what I'm saying? A lot of those shots were chucks. It was Derek White. The one was Jaylen Brown from 40 feet out at the end of the shot clock. He wasn't even open. He just chucked it. Kind of a fake comeback if you ask me. But, yeah, I mean, they almost did what the Sixers do. So I'm happy they didn't. Man. Okay, a couple of post-game calls from last night. Thank you guys for calling the show after the game. I appreciate it. Let's take a couple of them, and then I'm up out of here. And thank you all for being active in the chat. And, if you haven't yet hit the like button on the show, do that for me. Here we go.
Great Sixers win. Great Sixers win. They beat the Celtics. Great Sixers win. Maxey season. DJ Eastwood, I tune into your shows every day.
Hey, thanks, Riley. Great Sixers win, Maxey season, and thanks for tuning into the show. I appreciate you, and thanks for calling the show. Here's another one.
Yo, DJ, huge win against those Celtics, man, who are honestly frauds. We know that, but that's not the topic for another day. But, man, Sixers look great. 6-1. I'm so hyped for this team. We move the ball. Athletic wings who can play defense. The depth we have is pretty good, finally. No more George Niang, who's sloppy and fat. No more Shake Milton, who's inconsistent.
Yo, I was listening to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez today, and Spike was like, no disrespect to George Niang. And I was like, all disrespect to George Niang. Go run on a damn treadmill, bro. You're an NBA player. Like, what? You're an embarrassment. You're an embarrassment. Seriously. You have a responsibility as an NBA player to be in good physical condition. Now go stop drinking beer and go get in shape. You know what I'm saying? All disrespect to George Niang. I don't care. And George Niang called me a clown on Twitter one time because I told him that I told him that he's playing for free next season and he needs to start running suicides. So whatever. All disrespect to George Niang. Who cares? Get your ass in shape. You're an NBA player. You're a disgrace.
6-1. I'm so hyped for this team. We move the ball. Athletic wings who can play defense. The depth we have is pretty good, finally. No more George Niang, who's sloppy and fat. No more Shake Milton, who's inconsistent. But I'm just so happy, man. I don't know how far we'll go. I don't know if you still want us to trade for a Levine or an OG and a Banobi or whatever.
OG.
So far, I'm loving it. Let's see how far we can go. And, yeah, man, go Sixers and keep up the content, DJ.
OG. I want OG Anunoby. Hey, thanks for the call, man. Here's one from the 215. Shout out to the 215. And
hello there. I want to say real quick, this is not a diss towards Tobias at all. This is not a diss towards Tobias, and this is not saying
sounds like it's going to be.
The Sixers wanted to re-sign Tobias Harris at a good, fair number. This is not to say not to bring him back. This is not any of that. But what I want to say is, please do not be conned by what we're seeing from Tobias right now.
Not a believer yet.
He's done this at every single point in his career. When he was at his ending point in Detroit, at his ending point with the Clippers, just before the Sixers re-signed him to that long contract, and he's doing it right now again. This is Tobias's last year of his deal. Every single point, he plays great. He plays great. Then whatever team signs him, then he goes back to his normal ways. But his normal ways is fine at a fair price. But I'm saying, please do not be conned again by what we're seeing from Tobias. He's a good dude, a good player, but please, let's not be conned and then hope the Sixers re-sign him back at a big number. Re-sign him and it's fine. But if you do, don't go overboard. Don't be foolish and conned by what we're seeing right now.
All right, so we have a non-Tobias believer on the call. And speaking of non-Tobias believers, we got my guy Romp is in the chat. Romp, what do you think of that call, man? Do you agree or disagree? Do you think Tobias is conning us? I think it's a combination of both things. You're not wrong that, like, every time his contract was about to be up, he played harder. The one season, like right before the All-Star break, he was playing like super hard because he thought he should have been an All-Star in that game winner in against the Knicks, and he was like, "I'm the fucking All-Star. You know what I'm saying?" But I just think it's a little bit more of a Nick Nurse effect right now. Like, I'm watching Tobias Harris not just play harder, but the way he's playing is a lot more physical than I've ever seen him play. I'm not seeing these drives Just watch some of his drives from last season where he would see a defender and he would take a step, kind of go away from the defender and like lob the ball off the top of the glass. They were some of the weakest takes you could see from a 6'8", 220-pound person. Now he's going right at the defender. He's going right at his chest, and he's saying, I'm putting the ball in the hoop. If I get a foul call, that's cool. If not, whatever. The team is right now focused on playing the right way. And that all has to do with this coaching system and the training camp that they went through. They're not looking for calls. They're not going around defenders. They're like, I'm putting the ball inside the hoop, and whatever happens, happens. Kelly Oubre is another guy like that who, I don't know if he played this physical his whole career because I didn't watch like him intently, but right now Kelly Oubre is the perfect mentality for this team. Like, he takes the ball, he gets where he wants to go, and he puts it in the hoop. He's not feeling contact and falling over and looking at the officials. I watched this team do that so many times for so many years. Now you have guys that are like, yeah, feel the contact and fucking take it and put the ball in the hoop. The ref might give you the call, they might not. They're playing the game the right way. And I think Tobias Harris is playing the game differently from a mentality standpoint, and I think it has a lot to do with coaching. So maybe I'm being conned, maybe I'm not, but I like what he looks like right now. But I don't think they're gonna re-sign him. I mean, it would depend. I think he knows that the Sixers aren't gonna pay big money for him, so there's also that motivator that like I'm playing for a new contract and I'm advertising myself to other teams. So because if he keeps playing like this, other teams, somebody's going to offer him more money than the Sixers. Somebody with some cap space is going to, well, we could have a lot of cap space too. I don't know. Kastner, shout out to members in the chat. Tatum is a superstar and didn't even crack 20 points. Bro, did you see the end of that game? Tatum and Brown were being frauds. They quit. They were standing in the corner, giving the ball back to Derek White. They didn't want any parts of what was going on. My boy Steph, good friend of mine, love him, but he's a homer delusional Celtics fan. And he when the Sixers lose, I point out what I didn't like about what the Sixers were doing, right? My boy Steph, if you're watching this, you probably are. He's saying things like, the Celtics shot bad and you still only won by 3 points. And I'm like, you think we randomly shot bad? Is that really what you took from this? No. We were playing great perimeter defense, physical perimeter defense, and your two stars were being frauds. You should be a lot more angry at the Celtics for how they played last night. It wasn't just random. They didn't just randomly shoot bad. Anyway, do we got more callers? We got a couple more callers here. Let's check it out.
Hey, DJ, this is Matt L. Calling on my way to work, so I apologize for any sound in the background. But
what's up, Matt?
No, I mean, I'll start off with the negative. The ending of the game kind of shows why we need another ball handler. Maxey is great in his progression as a point guard, but Beverly is not really a point guard. Melton, please don't let him dribble the ball before. But anyway, I wasn't even really worried. That was the biggest takeaway from this. Like, I didn't feel the same way watching this game as I used to feel watching them play the Celtics. It felt way different. It felt less stressful. It just had a whole different vibe.
They traded the dogs.
And it's just because the team has a whole different vibe.
They traded the dogs.
I'm not afraid of this Celtics team. They also don't have the most dynamic guard penetrator type player. So it's really, it's Tatum and Brown. Porzingis is a very good addition to the team. But
offensively,
with the amount of wing defenders we have on this team now, and Maxey's ascension, like I think we can hang with this team. I'm not gonna put us at or ahead of them.
I am.
Title odds conversation.
I am.
It's a great win, and some things to still work on, but a great win, and looking forward to more of this. And if we can bring in that guy we talked about, we've been talking about, all summer that can try to put us over the top. I would like OG Anunoby and another ball handler ideally. But yeah, thanks for taking these calls, man. Go Sixers.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Matt L. Yeah, I definitely think there's a something that needs to be done about backup point guard position. Maybe starting shooting guard. DeAnthony Melton just it's interesting. The DeAnthony Melton thing is interesting, and hey, look, I think the Sixers can compete with anybody right now. I seriously, 7 games in, I don't care. From what I've seen so far, they can compete with everybody. And if you even make it, if you even bolster it even more by adding another wing defender or a backup point guard or whatever it is, that's even better. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for the call, Matt L. Tony Wiley, dude, you've been the main one talking about trading Tobias for years. You're a fraud. Well, Tony, Tobias Harris was playing like a bitch on a max contract. Now, he's not playing like a bitch, and his contract is about to be up. When the facts change, my opinion changes. Use your brain, dude. We got another call here. There is let's see where was Matt L at? Okay, here we go. Josiah. Woo! Josiah just calls in and says, "Woo!" All right, thanks for the call, Josiah.
Despite that 10-0 run, despite that 10-0 run that they made towards the end of the game, I still think Nick Nurse did a great job making adjustments and keeping this team engaged. Let me know what you think, man.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. Keeping the team engaged, that's a good point. It's definitely something that they've struggled with throughout the last couple of years is staying focused. And even when they kind of lose focus or the other team makes runs, they kind of have lapses and they get beat in transition and things. Getting them refocused, you know. Doc's motivational speeches are just like, you know, you heard the one on ESPN. Come on, guys. Like, come on. Like, come on, guys. Come on. Scribbles a bunch of stuff on the chart that nobody can read. Yeah, it's a lot. Everything's a lot better with Nick Nurse.
Hey, yo, what up, Eastwood? I'm the bull that sent you that 5-minute message a while back. You know, you couldn't listen to it because it was too long. But it's all good. It was just me ranting about James Harden anyway, that crusty bearded scrub. But we don't need to rant about him this time around. We're going to keep this short. Because for the first time in a long time, we finally got real basketball back in this city, baby.
Yeah!
Like, come on now, we got real. Like, when was the last time that you've anticipated a regular season Sixers game? And when was the last time that you enjoyed watching a regular season Sixers game? Like, you can actually enjoy watching this team now because they're playing real basketball. Every single player on their team can do a little bit of everything, and they're playing as a cohesive unit. They're getting active hands on the defensive end. They can shoot, they can rebound, they pass. You know, the superstar is unselfish. You know, and it's a joy to watch. It's great. You know, and so much for that system. So much for that system that was supposed to be so very effective over there in the West. You know, the beauty about tonight is not only did the Sixers get a beautiful win against the Celtics, but we got to turn the channel and see the system pick up another L on top of that.
The system.
And on top of that, GTA 6 gets announced by Rockstar like you couldn't write a better ending to this day.
That was random.
This day should be a holiday because it is going down in history in Philly sports. And ain't no doubt about it. All right, I'm out of here. Eastwood, peace.
Yo, what just happened, bro? Listen, the man had good points. You do sound like a supervillain, though. Like, I can't believe... Was that a voice changer or what? Was that
this or was that your normal voice?
Yo, but, yeah, man. We're watching real basketball, and it's nice. And, you know, if you watch the Toronto Raptors a little bit the past couple of years, that's kind of what you saw, too. You know what I mean? That's why we struggle with them all the time. No matter if they were a good team or not, we always struggled with them because they were always a good defensive team. They were always, the effort was always 100%. They always had good defensive strategies, and that's Nick Nurse. That's Nick Nurse, man. And he has added all of that to this team. They are all buying in. They're all giving 100% effort. They're all flying around and working together, and it's beautiful. And then my man shouts out Grand Theft Auto 6 completely randomly at the end of the thing and says, Grand Theft Auto 6 got announced today. This is a perfect day. It's going to go down in history. Did that really happen? Did that really happen? Did Rockstar officially announce Grand Theft Auto 6 today? Did I miss that? Anybody in the chat? They did? So it's a good correlation, really, because the Sixers have been frauds for 10 years, and Rockstar took 10 years to announce Grand Theft Auto 6. So I like the correlation. We're right there, bro. We're right there. It's still going to take about 7 more years for the game to come out, because once they announce it, they'll push back the release date forever. But you know, the thing about that is, like, I'm like, dude, you took 10 years to make a video game. Like, life isn't that long. You can't make very many games until I die if you're taking 10 years for every one. But trust and believe I'm gonna be on that bitch heavy. So, you know, we'll start a whole run it back Philly fucking clan on Grand Theft Auto 6. Keith Richmond, man, longtime subscriber to the channel. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming through, and thanks for the super chat. I'm hopeful for a great season. Let's pick up another piece for this team. Thanks for all you do. Thank you for listening, man. I just talk about sports. Like, in my brain, it doesn't feel like I'm really doing much work. I am, when I really think about it. I'm doing things literally all day long. I'm like preparing a live show, taking clips from it, posting on all social medias, making other videos. It never stops. But at the end of the day, I'm not doing a real job. I'm just talking about my favorite sports team, and it's fun for me. So it doesn't feel like as much work as it maybe seems like. That's all I'm saying. And thanks for the support, Keith. And you know what I mean? All you guys, 433 people in here, everybody that ever watched a video, and everybody that super chats, and everybody that just comes in and hangs out, you are making this possible. So it's a whole team thing. You know, you like the content, I like giving you the content. We're working together. Thanks for coming through. And thanks for the super chat. Yeah, that's all I got, man. That's all I got. Sixers win. Celtics are frauds. I don't care what anybody says about it. The Sixers are, they're a contender. They can compete with anybody in the league, and I can't wait for more games against very good teams to see, you know, what they look like, because they beat the Celtics, but they made a lot of mistakes. They did a lot of things wrong. They shot 28% from three-point range. They can play a lot better. It's not like the Sixers played their absolute best game and struggled and very narrowly beat this team. They did not play their best game. And they were up by 15 points with 3 minutes left. The Sixers can get even better than they are right now. That's where I'm at with things. Mr. Rudy, thanks for the love. Go get Tyus Jones. He's a free agent next year. We need that ball handler. Hey, Tyus Jones as a backup point guard, I would take. I think, though, I might be more on a Malcolm Brogdon train, though, just because of his defensive ability, Malcolm Brogdon. But I like Tyus Jones, man. I agree with that. And as always, Mr. Rudy, thanks for supporting the channel. There you go. Mr. Rudy's back up to Super of the Month. Shout out to you, man. And Kastner, thanks for being a member. Thanks for the super chat. And OG Ananobi, and we're Super Bowl bound. What are the Toronto Raptors looking like right now, man? Because we need them to keep on a downward spiral, man. You know what I'm saying? We need that. We need them to be sellers at the trade deadline. And before the season even started, I don't know why they wouldn't be sellers at the trade deadline, but if they're starting out the season bad, they definitely need to be sellers at the trade deadline. The Toronto Raptors are 4-4, so they're not like absolutely horrendous right now, right? They're 4-4. They're only really a half game out of fifth place in the East right now. So we'll see. But we're rooting against Toronto so that we can, they can be sellers at the deadline and we can be buyers. And we're rooting against the Clippers because James Harden is a fraud, and I just cannot believe they gave up. I didn't think anybody was going to give up anything. 2 first-round picks, a pick swap, role players to add that loser to your team. Unbelievable. That guy is nothing but loser energy. He is loser energy. You should not be interested in adding that loser energy to your team. And they did it. And it's going to be the downfall of the Clippers because James Harden is washed. That's it, man. I'm out.